Hello! I've talked about Tetris quite a bit on this channel, mostly in the context of those YouTube subscription videos I was doing where I would often be highlighting a Tetris player's channel. So I wanted to make a little video, I don't know, just kind of talking about Tetris and the sort of Tetris that I played most, which is something called Sprint or 40 line, or a Nullpomino line race. So this application I'm using right now is called Nullpomino. It's a Tetris app for Tetris nerds, people that are very into Tetris. It emulates a lot of different Tetris games fairly authentically, but real diehard supporters of those other games may not approve. For example, things like Grade Mania is kind of like Tetris the Grandmaster 3, which is a legendary Tetris arcade game, notorious for being very, very difficult. Marathon is kind of like a traditional Tetris marathon game that's in most official Tetris games these days. Dig Challenge, Ultra, these are all just kind of like different. There's a ton of them. Some of these are crazy. No one alive can do this. This is not a thing that people can do. I thought this was the same. I thought this was impossible, but then this insane man, Dr. Question Mark, is actually able to do this. But anyways, oops. No, here we go. So these are my high scores. I actually have better scores than this, but I achieved them playing on my netbook. My best time ever is 39 seconds and 50 something milliseconds, so barely a sub 40. My goal was always sub 40 when I was playing this game seriously, so once I achieved that, I pretty much quit immediately. I didn't really see the appeal of any major goals beyond this, and I really felt like I had been pushing myself to my limits. But recently a friend of mine who I had been kind of competing with in this field, in this category, that achieved sub 40 a little later than me, we were both kind of saying it as our goal, came back into it. He started playing again, and he's gotten some really, really good times, like I think around 35 seconds. So it's kind of given me hope again, but not really. I don't really care too much, honestly. Sub 40 I think is a really good goal if you want to learn how to play Tetris really fast. You know, it's a line a second, like that kind of has a nice ring to it, I think. Let me kind of break down. So there's a lot of stuff here about kind of how the game is controlled. But we don't really have to worry about that. So you'll notice, probably your experience with Tetris is a game where pieces are falling faster and faster, and you have to kind of steer them into the right spot before they hit the bottom. But you'll notice this piece I've got that's moving along the bottom doesn't seem like it's in any big hurry to get stuck anywhere. And that's because this is not even the piece. This is the piece preview, this thing here. The actual piece is off screen and it has zero gravity. It is not falling at all. So if I hit down a bit, which I have mapped to soft fall, you can see it's just kind of chilling out here. So already you can tell this is very different from your typical Tetris experience. If I have hard drop mapped, so this is, I've just hard dropped a few pieces, that just makes it appear instantly where the preview was. Basically, it just becomes the preview location. You'll notice a couple other things. Often in Tetris games, when pieces drop, there's a bit of a delay before the next one, but if I wanted to, I could just drop a piece on every single frame in this mode. There's 3 rotation buttons. Obviously you can't really tell, but here you can see I can go left, I can go right, and then I can also 180 with one button. So that's something that also doesn't exist in many Tetris games, although many Tetris games will allow you to kind of like pseudo do that by hitting 2 rotation buttons that are bound to the same thing simultaneously. So that's kind of in traditional Tetris, but kind of not. The other thing you'll notice right there is when I cleared a line, it just let me continue on instantly. So this mode, where you're just trying to clear 40 lines as quickly as possible, exists in a lot of official Tetris games, but often they do not have, what they do have is a line clear delay, that when you clear a line, there's a little animation that plays and probably a sound effect, and it delays the appearance of the next piece. So what that means is if you want a good score in any sprint mode that has this, you basically have to do 10 Tetrises. So I think that's cool. Like, I don't mind sprint modes that have that. But again, with this sprint mode, we're moving further and further from like Tetris into this entirely new game, which I would just call sprint. The other thing, this is something that is true for all official Tetris games these days, but is not maybe that not widely known, is how the randomizer works. So this operates on a system called 7-bag. You can see my piece previews here. I get to look at the next 6 pieces coming down the pike. And I know that in every set of 7 pieces that I will get 1 of each piece. So what the name 7-bag means is basically all 7 pieces have been put into a bag and jumbled up, and then you take them out one at a time, and then once the bag is empty, another bag with all 7 pieces jumbled up has been given to you. So it's still random, but it's a very kind and gentle random. So much so that I have friends that play TGM. The TGM randomizer is a little different. I think off the top of my head how it works is that it has a memory of pieces that it recently gave you, and if it tries to give you a piece that it remembers giving you recently, it'll like try again, but I don't know the exact specifics. But basically in that mode, it's very much possible, and if you play a lot of it, pretty likely that you'll encounter long droughts without an eyepiece, long periods of just alternating S and Z, which is just nightmarish. So it tests like a different sort of skill set. It tests like a more kind of resourceful risk management type of thinking. The most extreme versions of this are things like Cultris and NES Tris. That's the NES Tetris game that people compete on a lot too. That, as far as I know, are just pure random, which is really hard. But for Sprint, as I say, it's not really about Tetris at all. Like, some people say that 7-bag should not be considered Tetris in general, just because of the different skill set it tests. But that, combined with the fact that the pieces don't even fall, the fact that there's no line clear delay incentivizing you to do Tetrises over just single line clears. What else is different? I think that's about it for differences. So this really is, in very many ways, not Tetris. So now that we've established that, let's talk about what it is. Because I still think it's a very, very cool game. I'll just top it. So, you'll notice that while I was just kind of playing and dicking around, I haven't started seriously playing yet, don't worry, that I was still building my bricks as if I was going to Tetris. And this is like, it's not required at all. Like, as I said, it's just as good to get single line clears and stuff. But what I find it does is that it encourages me to play very flat. That as much as possible, I'm trying to lay pieces down without rotating them, which takes a little while longer. And without leaving situations where only specific blocks can go somewhere. And the benefit of that isn't so much that I'm being like risk adverse, because as we've established, because of 7-bag, I know that I'm going to get the piece I need. It's just that you end up thinking longer, I find. And when you start playing Tetris a lot, you'll notice whenever you think about where a piece should go. It should happen automatically. It should happen like before you even realize it's happening. That you know where the piece goes and you're already putting it there. But if the more jagged your piece structure is, the more asymmetrical, the longer it takes for you to kind of search for a spot. Now, the purest form of this, and this is something that I could do when I was playing this a lot, but I don't think I'll be able to do now on demand, is not really looking at the well entirely, like looking at the well at all, but just looking at the next cue and having faith that your setup is like the way you expect it to be, that you're like, this, I'm sure it can go here. And then you just move it before you drop it, like before you even look. And the way you kind of build that up is usually at the start of the game. Like if I hit this, there's like a second where it goes ready, go, and you can look at the 6 pieces that are coming up there, and that will like give you enough time to go like, okay, this one needs to go here, this one needs to go here, this one needs to go here, and then you just kind of like execute that. The simplest ones, let's see if I can get one, are ones where you can go like, just like tap, 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 because you know the first 3 blocks will interlock each other just perfectly, like right at the start. So you basically get those ones for free. And then as soon as you've like sublimated that and you know, okay, that's taking care of this, this, and this, then the first block you actually need to think about is this one, which makes you able to like put that one fully on auto mode while you're just hitting like go, go, go for these 3. Isn't that cool? I don't know. I hope when you're just listening to this without me going like, isn't that cool? You're going, damn, that's cool. So it's all just like pattern matching and stuff, I suppose. And the other thing that is a major component, and that you can hear, is that it's like very physically demanding too. It's just like very rapidly and precisely moving your fingers. You can see there's a lot of, so this is like line delay and lock delay. So if for whatever reason you wanted to artificially slow yourself down, this is the number of frames for clearing a line that it would delay you. This is the number of frames for dropping a blick that would delay you. ARE, I think that's something to do with like buffering inputs for the next piece. But if you have everything else set to 0, there is no buffering, so it's not really an issue. This is the one that matters a lot. And this is delay auto scroll, I think. Delay auto sync? No, delay auto scroll. So there's 2 ways that pieces move. If you just press a direction, it'll move 1 square in that direction, right? But even though I'm trying to like tap it very precisely, I'm actually probably depressing it for more than 1 frame. So what the DAS does, oh yeah, so the other way of moving it though is if I hold it, you can see it starts to like slide quickly. So to get it from the middle to this side, I don't want to have to go like tap, 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 right? That's obviously way slower than just this. But I also don't want it to go sliding whenever I just tap it, right? So the DAS is, for me, I'm saying I want 6 frames where don't make it like rotate, or don't make it slide over more than just the 1 square. So it's something that everyone has their own preference for. I think most good players are at least in the single digits. I think the really good players use like 4, but 4 to me is crazy. 4 I can't quite control. So you can see it's a little more slippery. Like, I don't know. It's a little screwy. I think 6 is good for me. I don't know. I'm a little rusty, of course. I haven't played this in quite a while. So even 6 feels very fast. I've been mostly playing Puyo Puyo Tetris, which has like a much slower speed. Oh. The other one is like, to get a piece to this position, it's usually actually, well, no, it's always faster, unless you're a god, to go over here and then back one. But that's like, that's hard. So I'm noticing that I'm screwing that one up a lot too. So this isn't going to be the best demonstration of my Tetris abilities. What else should I say? Based on all this, what would you guess the world record is? This is a good question. Do you have a guess in mind? It is 17 seconds. Isn't that nuts? Isn't that just like the craziest thing you've ever heard? So, you know, my sub 40, even though to me that sounds impressive. Wow, a line a second. That's actually slow. That's actually really slow. Okay, let's try playing a serious game. I don't know how well we'll do. Like I say, I'm rusty as all hell. But I think I can get back in the groove of it. I'm gonna put on some music. What should we listen to? What should we listen to that won't give me a copyright strike? Oh, here we go. Oh. Oh my gosh, I gotta let some of these go. Usually I try to play like I don't screw up very much. Because like I say, the more you screw up, the slower you play, but I'm not gonna finish a game at this rate. And you can also see the piece per second. That's kind of a good metric. As you can see in my high scores, I was playing around 2.3 pieces per second. That's pretty good. And then of course the best players in the world can hit like 6 on a good day. Oh my god. Alright. And you can use hold too, you know, like, but I don't even have it mapped. I don't like using it in sprint because it slows me down a lot, I find. Okay, this is fine. I need better ergonomics. I just can't do that move right now. I gotta do it the slow yo-y way. Oh, okay, okay. Gotta put on another Toho banger for energy. Well, that was dumb. Juice. Juice. What is this? What is this? Thinking back up the tree. Oh no. Dang it. I definitely didn't look at that properly. Oh, we were still over 2 there. I want to get sub-minute. I think if I play it over... Oh my gosh. I think if I play it over 2 bricks per second, I should get sub-minute. I hate this. I remember now why I quit this. Alright, we'll listen to this song one more time. And if we can't get something going by then. Oh lordy. What is this? No! Oh, you bastard! Okay. Spirit time, spirit time. Okay, we're running out of time. Terrible. Okay. We gotta have more faith. Brain is working on something. Brain is working on something. What do you got for me, Brain? What do you got? There's nothing. Okay, one more verse. This one is do or die. No, this one is do or die. This is terrible. Toho freestyle dungeon. Questionable. Man. I'm so bad at this now. Oh, you can go back. If you search on my channel, you can see videos of me playing this well. But better. I shouldn't say well. Anyways, that's what this game is like. I think it's pretty fun still, kind of. Even though I was getting frustrated, I was really getting into it. It already started making my hands hurt though, so that's not a good sign. Yeah, I can still remember very vividly the time that I broke 40 seconds. I was playing a whole lot. I just had my laptop with me whenever I was on campus, so like between classes, during boring class. Nah, I didn't play during class. That would have been hella rude. But between classes, I would go and find a quiet spot and just play. And I was sitting in the science building at Laurier, and I got it, and I like stood up, and I like looked around, because I felt for some reason like everyone would just like burst into applause or something. And I was like, okay. And then I just sat back down and like excitedly texted a bunch of my friends. Look at this! Look! Yeah, that's still somewhere there. Here, we can watch a replay of better times. Even here, I don't have too many good times. Where's a good time? But yeah, I used to grind at this a lot. Like, I would just come home and play Tetris. Here's a good one. It looks so slow. It looks so slow. It looks like I could do that. Man. Anyways, I feel like I'm never going to get back into this again. Even though my friend has obviously proven to me that 26 is not too old to be setting your best sprint times, it's just not what I want to spend time on anymore. But it was something that I did quite like for a while, and I think it made me better at video games in general. And I was able to hit the goal that I wanted to before I quit. So if there's a more broad life lesson to be taken from this, it's like, I don't know, you can do this stuff. Anyone can do this stuff. I don't think I'm particularly good at this sort of thing. I just did it a lot. I just grinded away at it, and I got better and better and better. You can go back in my channel. I don't know what you would search for. Here, let me see if, I think I just called them 40 line. Hello? You loading? I don't know, it's loading. But yeah, you can conceivably, if Chrome isn't frozen, just refresh. You can go and oh, here we go. Search in my channel. 40 line, I think. Or did I call it sprint? Did I call it sprint or 40 line? I don't know. People call it a lot of different things. Line race is also common. I think sprint is a good name for it because that's basically what it is. I mean, the other mode is called marathon, so obviously it's like a marathon. And like I say, like, I wouldn't say this ever made me good at Tetris. It's actually kind of funny when I play other Tetris games that have different objectives and different skill sets and stuff, because I am fast, like I'm able to play them really quickly. But why does this autoplay sometimes? I'm sorry if you're a fan of this channel and you're sick of me saying this. Maybe I should make a new about this channel video. I don't really remember what I go on about in here. Is it lagging because Nullpo is open? Is that even possible? Do I have anything else more to say about Sprint? This feels good though, to make a video about a hobby like this. It feels like I'm more willing to just move on from it, and that I'm not going to have any lingering feelings of like, I should try to get better. Yeah, see? Woo! 39.55, baby. But you can see 46, 48. This is probably back when I didn't even know how to rotate in all three directions. 49, I didn't even know how to record the screen properly. 54, one of my best times. I think this was before I even knew about replays, so I was just like recording all the time or something. I would like make new videos. Oh man, if you've ever been frustrated about like the the quality of my channel or the total absence of quality control, it used to be worse. I used to have like no idea what I was doing. Now I have a very vague approximation of what I'm doing. One-handed. Why? I don't remember doing this. But I guess I was. Why? For a while too, I was playing it with my. I had like a DDR dance pad that has USB output, so I was doing that for a while. That was pretty fun. It still kind of looks slow. I guess just because I'm used to watching pros play, right? I'm used to watching the people who actually are the best in the world. Yeah, Tetris is a cool game. Tetris just challenges you to put your pattern recognition skills to the absolute limit as quickly as possible. Good like visualization, I think, too. Like once you start really getting into it and you start being able to visualize how your next cue will play out into the well without actually having to see it happen, feels pretty good. Feels like very key. So I think it's good for the brain in general if you find like a version of it that you like. Alright, that's it. That's Tetris Sprint.